If you've been following the AI scene for the last couple of years, it often feels like success means building the most technically complicated thing, or maybe just being fastest on the draw with every new tool that drops.
But here's the big surprise, the thing that really flips the script, that the most successful folks in this space figured out: profiting from AI. It's not really about your tech skills, not primarily anyway. It's almost entirely about strategy.
Yeah, strategic thinking. The kind of insight that let agencies like True Horizon, that our sources mention, scale up past $2.5 million a year. They didn't win with some secret sauce prompt. They won because they really got these four kind of non-obvious lessons about how businesses actually use and pay for AI automation.
Right, so welcome to the deep dive. Today, our mission is basically to cut through all that noise, the social media hype, the constant buzz. We're going to zero in on the strategic secrets, the things that really separate the generalists, the ones stuck competing on price, from the true experts who can command those premium fees.
hmm We'll unpack these four big shifts. Moving from thinking about full replacement to thinking about leverage, then moving from breadth to depth, from complexity towards simplicity, and maybe most importantly, shifting focus from just prompts to the actual process. Let's dive into that first big one, the failed promise of 100% automation.
Okay, yeah, let's rewind a bit. A little tech nostalgia. Think back to, say, 2022, early 2023. The hype cycle was intense. Remember tools like AutoGPT? They were everywhere, and the promise was huge. End-to-end autonomous agents doing everything. Booking meetings, researching markets, even writing code. Zero human needed.
It honestly felt like science fiction becoming real. A lot of us, I think, really believed that, full AI replacement was just around the corner, just one software update away, beat. But then reality hit. For businesses actually trying to use these early systems, it was, well, pretty brutal.
It really was. In the real world, those fully autonomous systems, they turned out to be super fragile, fundamentally fragile. They'd break the second they hit any real-world messiness, like a spreadsheet formatted slightly wrong or, an unexpected question from a stakeholder. Often they just created more work, more bottlenecks than the old manual way they were supposed to replace.
Right. So the big takeaway there, full automation, at least in that sense, is fragile. The real insight that came out of those early struggles wasn't about replacing humans. It was about leverage.
Exactly. Leverage. It's a total mindset shift. The goal isn't human replacement, it's human amplification. You use AI to get rid of the boring, the repetitive, the soul-crushing stuff, so your human experts can focus on the high-value tasks, the things needing creativity or empathy. And this idea kind of crystallized into a really useful strategic framework, the golden AI ratio.
The golden AI ratio. Okay, so this is the mix that actually delivers business value consistently. It breaks down like this: 60% full automation, 30% AI assisted, and 10% fully manual.
Right, and that's 60%. That's your low-hanging fruit. Target the really boring, repetitive, rule-based stuff: data entry, scheduling basic meetings, status updates. The key is these tasks don't need complex judgment. And honestly, often you don't even need fancy AI here. Basic tools like Zapier or Make.com, perfectly fine for just moving data around reliably.
Okay, so 60% is the simple repetitive stuff. What about the 30% AI assisted?
That's where AI becomes a real co-pilot. Tasks needing some context, maybe a bit of creativity. Think generating first drafts for emails, or summarizing a massive research report, or maybe drafting a marketing message for a specific type of customer. The AI does the heavy lifting, but the human provides that crucial final judgment, the polish, the personalization.
And last 10% fully manual?
Absolutely secret. This stuff must stay manual. Complex negotiations, high-stakes decisions, real relationship building, anything requiring genuine human empathy. Try automating this 10% and you're basically asking for trouble. Legal issues, alienated clients, you name it.
Let's make this concrete with that lead follow-up example. So the 60% automated tasks would be things like logging new lead info into the CRM, right? Or maybe qualifying leads based on simple rules, scheduling those first intro calls.
Exactly. Then the 30%, the AI-assisted part, is where AI analyzes the lead data, company size, industry, their role, and drafts a really personalized outreach message. Then the human reviews it, maybe adds a quick personal note, and hit send. Or AI could generate a pre-call brief, summarizing everything so the salesperson walks in prepared.
And the 10%, that's still the human closing the deal, handling tricky objections, building that long-term strategic relationship, the stuff that builds real trust. And the 60-30-10 idea, it works across the board, right? Finance, marketing, operations.
Totally. And it's also how you actually show the value to a client or your boss. If you can automate, say, 70% of a process that used to take 10 hours, well, you just found 7 hours of savings every single time. That system runs. That's leverage. That's measurable ROI they can understand.
Okay, so if this golden ratio is so broadly applicable, what's the number one mistake people make when they try to figure out their 60%? Where do they go wrong?
Probably targeting tasks that need complex judgment way too early. That just makes the whole system shaky.
Instability. Yeah, the enemy of actually getting things done at scale. Which leads us right into lesson 2. Depth over breadth. Go deep, not wide.
Oh yeah, this is a big one. When people first get into AI automation, the natural urge is to go wide, right? You fall into the tool trap. You feel like you have to learn every single new platform that pops up, Annate and lovable, whatever new agent framework went viral this week. And you try to say yes to every potential client, no matter their industry, gyms, e-commerce, dentists, whatever.
I definitely know that feeling.
Yeah.
It's that shiny object syndrome, and it's everywhere. Honestly, I still wrestle with prompt drift myself sometimes when I see some cool new agents set up. It is genuinely hard to stay focused. The pace is just wild. You feel like you'll miss out.
But going wide like that, it makes you a jack of all trades, master of none. That's the killer. You end up knowing a tiny bit about 5 different tools, but not enough about any single one to solve the really thorny, high-value problems reliably. And
Right.
then you're just competing on price because your solution isn't special.
So the experts, they flip this. They use the inch wide, mile deep strategy. Like mining for diamonds. You go deep in one spot. You pick one core automation tool, maybe it's NAN, maybe make.com, and you commit. You really master it. You become the N8N expert for logistics or the make.com guru for SaaS companies.
Exactly. And that focused authority, it's magnetic. It pulls in those specialized, high-value clients who desperately need your specific expertise. Plus, think about the time you save. Mastering one tool instead of just dabbling in 5, you reinvest that time into understanding real business problems, the application side.
That deep application knowledge, knowing one industry's specific challenges, their regulations, their KPIs, better than anyone else, that's the competitive advantage. That's your moat. That's what lets you charge premium rates. So focus isn't limiting, it actually clarifies your value.
And it's the same for marketing yourself too, right? Beginners spray and pray, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, everywhere at once. Specialists pick one main platform, go super deep, build real authority there first, and then maybe expand. It compounds way faster.
So if that focused approach gives such a big edge, how fast can a generalist really catch up to a specialist who's gone deep?
Pretty slowly, honestly, because the specialist just solves the core problems more reliably, more consistently. Expertise compounds.
Reliability again. Okay, perfect segue to lesson 3. Complexity kills, simplicity scales.
Right. We've all seen those demos, haven't we? They're incredibly complex systems. They look amazing on screen, like a Jenga tower, 15 steps, 10 different AI agents passing data back and forth. Super cutting edge look. But they lack real-world robustness. They're brittle.
Yeah. The second one little thing, changes in API updates. One agent misunderstands a prompt slightly, the whole tower just collapses. But businesses, they don't actually care about the fancy architecture. They don't care about the nodes, the API calls, the technical wizardry.
Nope. They care about 3 very simple things. Does it save time? Does it make money? And crucially, does it work consistently? Every single time. Consistency is everything.
So a really simple workflow, maybe just 3 steps, maybe it looks kind of boring technically.
Yeah.
But if it reliably saves 100 hours a month, that's infinitely more valuable than some flashy 10-agent system that breaks every other way and needs constant fixing. Reliability beats complexity, hands down.
Exactly. The value comes from the outcome, from the usability and the reliability, not from how clever the engineering was. And this leads to a really powerful, kind of counterintuitive optimization strategy. Actively try to remove decision-making AI from your workflows where possible.
Wait, remove the AI? That sounds almost like heresy to a developer. Why would you swap out AI reasoning for something simpler?
Because if a basic logic step, just a standard, if this, then that can achieve the same outcome as a complex language model. The simpler logic is usually more stable, way cheaper to run, and much faster to debug if something goes wrong. You swap complexity for simplicity whenever stability is the priority.
Whoa. Okay, imagine that. A simple, stable, maybe 3-step process costs maybe $20 a month to run, but it consistently supports a business scaling up to millions, maybe even 1 billion queries or transactions a year. Boring is beautiful then. Predictability is your absolute best friend.
It's a tough mindset shift, though, because those flashy, complex systems, they're the ones that get all the attention on social media, right? They get the views, the likes, but they rarely drive sustainable paid business results.
So thinking about that, why are content creators maybe partly to blame for this misconception around complexity? Why do we see so much of the flashy stuff?
Well, flashy super agentic systems get clicks and views, but stable, simple systems, those get the paying clients. The hype isn't where the real money is.
Right. That leads us perfectly into our final strategic lesson, lesson 4, process over prompts. And this feels like where the real strategic mastery comes in.
Yeah, absolutely. Beginners tend to obsess over the tool itself. They focus on the prompt, how the workflow looks visually, which specific AI model they're using. They think the tool is the solution.
But the real challenge, the fundamental thing,
Hmm.
is understanding the underlying business process that the tool is supposed to improve.
You know that old saying? Automating chaos just creates faster chaos. If the process is broken, automating it just makes the mess happen quicker.
We use the doctor-patient analogy for this. A good doctor can't just prescribe medicine the tool without first understanding the patient's biology, right? The underlying system, the process. What depends on what?
Yeah.
Where are the current failure points? What other systems does it touch?
If you just blindly throw the fanciest AI workflow at a fundamentally broken process, like, say, a sales team that doesn't track their leads properly, yeah, it's going to fail. It'll crash right into all the messy operational details you didn't take the time to understand first.
And here's a tough one. Sometimes, after you really dig into the process, you realize AI isn't actually the right answer. Our sources really emphasize this ethical responsibility. You have to recommend the best fix, even if it's just, say, setting up their CRM better or cleaning up a database or maybe just using a simple off-the-shelf software that already solves that specific friction point, even if you don't get to build the shiny AI thing.
Exactly. Your main job, before you write a single line of code or connect a single node, is to study, map out the current process. Figure out which parts are repetitive, that's your 60% automation target, which parts need judgment, that's your 30% assistance target, and which parts are purely human touch.
There's that strategic time allocation rule again, which really nails this. Spend 80% of your time understanding. Understanding the process, the users, the data, the goals. Only 20% of your time should actually be spent building the solution.
That 80-20 split, it's pretty much non-negotiable for long-term success, and it frees you from chasing perfection right out of the gate. You embrace the MVP, the minimum viable product, get something small, something valuable, deployed quickly, and then iterate fast. Learn from real-world user feedback. That's how you actually make progress.
Okay, so if understanding the process is absolutely fundamental, what's the single fastest way to completely kill a promising new automation project?
Easy. Plugging it straight into a fundamentally broken process. Just automating the existing inefficiency. Faster chaos, like we said. Sponsor. All right, let's just quickly pull these 4 core strategic ideas together. These are the shifts that really create that competitive edge in the AI automation world.
Okay, first, ditch the quest for 100% replacement. Focus instead on leverage. Use that 6 or 30-10 ratio. Amplify your human experts. Automate the boring stuff.
Second, prioritize depths over breadth. Go an inch wide and a mile deep. Master one core tool, one client niche, that focused expertise. That's what attracts the premium clients.
Third, remember simplicity scales. Reliability is absolutely king. Sometimes boring is beautiful. Actively simplify. Aim for stability. That's what businesses value and pay for consistently.
And finally, number 4, always focus on process over prompts. Study before you build. Invest that 80% of your time upfront understanding the user, the system, the real problem, before you even think about the specific tool or prompt.
And this strategic mindset, it has really direct applications for different people listening. If you're a service provider, an agency, your real value isn't just the build, it's in that 80%, the strategic insight, the diagnosis, the communication.
And if you're a business owner, use that 6-star 30-10 leverage idea to find opportunities inside your own company. But start small. Nail a simple 2-step problem before you tackle a 10-step monster. Iterate.
And for the developers listening, prioritize stability and simplicity. Don't just build for technical impressiveness. Design for real-world usability, for reliability. That's what matters long-term.
Look, the AI gold rush is definitely happening now, but the winners aren't going to be the ones with just the fanciest, flashiest tools. Success belongs to the strategic partners, the ones who understand how to solve real business problems effectively, reliably, and often quite simply.
So here's something to think about before you jump into your next automation project. Which core business process in your work or your company really needs some serious mapping, some deep conversations with the people involved before you even think about plugging in any AI? Probably start right there.
That shift in thinking from just being a tech implementer to becoming a true strategic partner, that's the real key. That's how you build a profitable, sustainable path forward in this incredibly fast-moving era. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
We'll see you next time.